Welcome, brothers and sisters and dear friends, to another bi-weekly guided meditation and live stream Dharma talk here at the Blue Lotus Meditation and Mindfulness Center. If you're just tuning in, we're just beginning. We always begin bi-weekly on Monday evenings at 6 p.m. So thank you for spending some of your precious time with us this evening, just for about 30 minutes or so. Get to talk to many wonderful things while we sit here and explore the Dharma about how we can walk that noble path with kindness and generosity. And that happens to be tonight's Dharma talk and guided meditation, Dana, the gift of generosity. So today is November 14th. It's a little after 6 p.m. in the Central Time Zone where I am. And if you're a regular viewer, you'll know that we have a particular format that we kind of follow while we're here. And we always start off with our nice, warm and inviting and nurturing and grounding guided meditation. So go ahead and let's begin by taking a moment to settle our bodies into that nice, comfortable position. You may close your eyes or keep them slightly open with a soft focus, looking down, perhaps a few feet in front of you. Breathe in. Pause. And breathe out. And while you sit there, you are certainly invited to allow that half smile to rest upon your face. And as you continue sitting and maybe adjusting, allow your spine to lift and your shoulders to soften. Go ahead and soften your belly as well. Breathe in. Pause. And breathe out. Let's meditate on offering just ordinary kindness to individuals that we come across or we know or don't know. And although this is a loving kindness practice or meditation, it can also help us to let go of overthinking and concentrating on our minds. So as you sit there, go ahead and pick one person whom you've encountered with during your day today. Whoever grabs your attention initially and naturally. The very first person. Try to envision all of the details about this person. Maybe where you encountered them. Are they wearing a hat? They're wearing shorts or long pants. Maybe they were wearing a suit. Try to envision all of the details that you can. Just recall about them. And recognize that this is a person with hopes and dreams, fears, regrets, memories, and loved ones. In other words, just like you, this person wants to be happy. So to help them out, as you sit there, just offer a simple phrase of loving kindness in your head for that person, such as, may you live with ease today. It can be whatever you choose, though. May you live with ease today. And as you were initially thinking of this person, did anyone else come to mind from today? Maybe it was a toss-up between two people. So whoever that other person is, let's bring them into our awareness. And again, think of all of the details about that other person now. Maybe they were on the bus with you. Maybe they were standing in line at the library. Maybe you ran into them while you were walking on a hiking trail or at the swimming pool. And let's offer them that loving kindness phrase as well. Whatever it was that you chose, or maybe you want to change it. That's perfectly fine too. Maybe you want to just stick with, may you live with ease today. Breathe in. Pause. Slowly exhale. Now go ahead and maybe if you saw a crowd of people today, maybe you were on a city sidewalk, walking from block to block, or wherever you were. Maybe you were driving in traffic. Think about all those people in those other cars, buses, or trains. And allow yourself to enjoy this practice of just dropping or offering warm energy to all of those other people that maybe you didn't even see their faces. So for the next few moments, just go ahead and do that. Think about those crowds of people that you come across. May you live with ease today. May you live with ease today. Now let's shift our focus to ourselves and offer ourselves the same kindness. May I live with ease today. Breathe in. Pause. Slowly exhale. Go ahead and begin to open your eyes and slowly and reorientate yourselves, or perhaps shift positions. Wonderful. How wonderful. So that's a title of that meditation is ordinary, right? Ordinary kindness. But if we think about it, there's really nothing ordinary about it. Offering strangers kindness. In a world sometimes that can be very hard and callous towards others. So offering somebody kindness, even if it's just through our thoughts, is anything but ordinary. And so offering gifts of well-being and kind thoughts and so forth really ties into what we're talking about this evening, right? Dana, the gift of generosity. But what is Dana? It's a Pali word that means generosity. Excuse me. It means generosity. And it really is at the fundamental teachings of Buddhism and from the Buddha. In fact, his very first lessons were on giving and the importance of generosity. And being generous and having that open-hearted kindness is really the beginning path of liberation. And we'll talk about why. So maybe for a few moments, think about why. Why could being generous be such a important philosophy or important tenet, virtue of the path to liberation or Buddhism? Well, in that philosophy of generosity, when we are giving, we are not being greedy. Right? And so we're not hoarding maybe something that we have. we are being generous with ourselves, with our time. Very often, though, we think of being generous as monetarily, and monetarily or giving money, right? But it's much more than that, right? It is truly giving of ourselves. And when we think about giving, think about what you have. Just from the beginnings of what you have. If you're sitting here watching me, you have a mind. That's a gift. You have a body. That was a gift. You have a wonderful planet that we live on, that we all live and share. That is a gift. We have beautiful stars to look at in the evenings. We're watching a sunset. Those are gifts. We have important people in our lives, loved ones. Those are gifts. We have been given a lot of gifts in our lives. And so that is why very fundamental tenets, the virtues, the very first one is generosity along that path of liberation, because it is not selfish. It is not hoarding. It is not greed. And so some of the benefits that both the receivers and the donors give from being generous is mental well-being. The very first one we can talk about is mental well-being. Mental purification. We are sharing. We are giving to someone who is in need. And there are different types of donors. Right? There are different levels of donors. And if we think about the ones who truly give without any expectation, they're the fortunate ones. Sometimes we give gifts that, well, I'm not going to spend too much on them, right? Or I'm not going to donate, or offer them a large portion of my time. And then there are others. What do you need? Done. Without a hesitation, without a moment's hesitation, the door is open. So mental purification, right? When we hold on to something that, maybe if we have an excess of something, but we only give a little bit of it, we become a slave to what that item is. Whether it's time or energy, perhaps it's patience. Right? Again, not everything has to revolve around money. That's what we kind of think about in our societies. But there are many other virtues, many other types of generosity, generous donations we can make. Patience is one. Right? Patience is another. It supports, again, so being generous is a defense against greediness. Right? Now, if we think about greed, it really has its roots in ego or selfishness. I'm not going to share everything I have. Right? I like you, but maybe not too much. That's not generous, right? We have to be generous. That's greedy, right? Greedy. And so when we are donating ourselves to others, we're providing support for someone else who is in need. Who is in need in helping somebody. Somebody, we often ask, what is the meaning of life? Maybe it's just giving. Maybe it's just helping. It doesn't have to be something grandiose, inventing, a new device or invention. Maybe that's our purpose, just being kind to one another. What better purpose could there ever be? And when we give, when we are generous, that also allows us to recognize our own capacity for charity. And that's important too. Understanding that, wow, I can freely just donate to someone who needs. And what happens when we give someone something that they need? What do? They have joyful responses. That makes us have joyful responses. So it elicits joyful emotions. We don't have joyful emotions when we're greedy or selfish, right? That's when we hold things in, right? That's not a joyful emotion because we feel under attack, right? We feel that we may be losing something when we are greedy. And the other person certainly is not smiling, right? Certainly not. But when you share, when you donate, when you offer generosity, joyful responses are felt by both. So that also gives us some wonderful physical well-being as well, right? We feel calm inside. It allows us to feel balanced again, knowing that we helped someone. It gives us peace of mind. And again, smiles. Smiles are a physical response. I'm smiling. You smile too. How wonderful is that? And they're generous smiles. They're warm-hearted, wholesome smiles. Generosity, dana, also promotes spiritual well-being. So remember the third jewel, right? So we got the first jewel, take refuge in the Buddha. The second jewel, take refuge in the Dharma. In the third jewel, take refuge in the Sangha. Right? We can expand our definition of a Sangha and include our communities, our neighbors. And so it is one of the jewels. If we just think about it in a larger perspective. And it certainly fosters community. It strengthens and forms bonds between people who may not have had those bonds before. When you see your neighbor struggling, you're generous with your time maybe. Maybe they need help carrying groceries in. Or maybe they have a flat tire. Maybe they just need that cup of sugar for that cake. Who knows? But that's how communities are fostered. That's how individual bonds are formed or strengthened by generosity. So how can we practice generosity or dana in our lives? Well, one of the very first ways, and I think is really important for our own development, for our spiritual, physical, and mental well-being, is just living ethically. And one of the best ways to live ethically is truthfulness. Right? Truthfulness in our words. We don't exaggerate. We don't misrepresent. We don't have to be blunt, right? That's not necessary to be blunt to hurt someone else's feelings. That is not generous, nor is it kind. But we are truthful, and truthfulness is tactful as well. It is mindful of someone else's mental well-being as well. Our actions. That's truthful. Truthfulness in our actions. We're certainly not stealing or committing acts of violence. But maybe it's, just simple ways that we act. We don't have to be the show-off. Hey, look at me. We don't have to be the recluse either. Hey, don't look at me. Our actions. And with truthful words, truthful actions, what do we develop? Trust. Trust is very important between people. It's not to say that you make a promise and something comes up that is really important that you are unable to maybe keep it at that point in time. Things happen in life. But I will be there at 7 o'clock. I will do my best to be there at 7 o'clock. Trusting is allowing someone to feel vulnerable to you. And that's not easy for some to do. So when we are living ethically and we live truthfully by being generous, generosity, we develop trust with others. Something else is just service to others as well. Right? Maybe there's a service organization around you, Goodwill, Salvation Army, perhaps an animal shelter, whatever it is. Service to others is a way to offer charity and generosity. It doesn't have to be every single day. Maybe you volunteer at teaching someone how to read or write, or balance a checkbook, or fill out a job application. Many ways to serve others. It's important to remember to, keep our door open to the needy. There are times when you have needed, and I'm sure someone helped you out. There were certainly times when I was needy and someone has helped as well. Relying on the kindness and generosity allows us to feel vulnerable, and we are then able to offer dana to others. It's a wonderful gift, a wonderful opportunity, wonderful philosophy for us to begin that path of liberation. Something to think about as we go along our day or weeks and months. Allow that to blossom inside, generosity, without hesitation, as long as it's not hurtful or harmful. This time, just certainly like to thank you all again for spending some of your precious time with us this evening. It's always a pleasure to see you and talk the Dharma, and maybe offer some insight on some questions that you may have within. Our next Dharma talk is on the 28th, so November 28th. That will be on the fog of society. I think that's a pretty relevant situation that many of us experience. The fog of society. On the 28th, November 28th at 6 p.m. You're also welcome to join us for any number of our weekly sanghas, our veteran sangha, our healing sangha, new beginning sangha, teens, rainbow sangha. Links are on our website, as well as free registration. Everything we do is free. That is our gift of generosity to everyone. And if you do like our time together, I do ask that you maybe consider, to you, just liking and subscribing to our channel. We always have fun stuff, warm stuff, nurturing stuff, things to talk about and consider during our times together. And with that, my friends, I wish you all an evening of peace, ease, and well-being.